Hey everybody. All right, so we're talking about comparing numbers this week. We have compared numbers using words, and we've also practiced using symbols. Today, I'm going to give you two numbers, and I want you to use your base 10 blocks to build them, and then try to figure out which symbol would go in the middle of these words, and then we're going to check it together to see how you did. Okay, so I want you to compare these two numbers, and if you don't have the supplies you need to quickly go and grab them, so press pause. Okay, the two numbers that I want you to compare, let's do 5 and 15. So press pause on the video, build the number 5 and the number 15, and then use the symbol that would go in the middle to compare these two numbers. So press pause and do that now. Alright, so you should have built 5 with your base 10 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is just a one-digit number, so it only should have ones. And then you should have built the number 15. 15 has 1 10, a 1 in the tens place, and it has 5 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's make sure I've got 5 and 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this is a 10, so we start by counting by tens. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so far, are you right? Did you get it correct so far when you built it? Now, when you go to compare these two numbers, remember when we make the symbol, you look to see which number is the greatest, which one had the most, 5 or 15. 15 had the most. It was greatest because 15 has a 10. 5 does not have a 10. And 10s are going to be greater than 1s. They did have the same number of 1s, but the 10 and 15 is what makes this number the greatest. 5 did not have a 10. So since 15 is the greatest, you should have put 2 dots on the 15 side and then 1 dot on the 5 side. And when you connect your dots, you are given the correct symbol here. Now this doesn't say 5 is greater than 15. Remember, if it's greater than, the 2 dots are going to be on the side that is to the left. This says 5 is less than 15. Is that true? Yes, it is true. 5 is less than 15. It is smaller. Remember, less than means smaller. Alright, let's clear your board, and I'm going to give you another problem. And again, I'm going to give you the numbers, and I want you to build them and figure out the symbol that would go in the middle. Okay, let's do... Compare these two numbers. Press pause. Alright, so if you compared these two numbers, you should have built 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. This is just a one-digit number on both sides, so you did not need to pull out your tens. Tens are only for when you have two-digit numbers or more, okay? And these all just both had one digit, so you just needed your ones. Okay, so you should have built 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. First, look at the tens places. Do they have a tens place? No, so move on to the ones places. How many ones does this number have? It has 4. How many ones does this number have? Well, it has 4. These numbers are the same, so your symbol should have been the equal to symbol. 4 equals 4. How'd you do? All right, moving on to our next one. Let's build, let me have you model Press pause, build these numbers, and figure out the symbol that goes in the middle. All right, you should have built 16. There's 1 10. Remember, a 1 in the tens place, and you should have used 6 ones. Let's count this number. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then here, you don't have a tens place, so you should not have pulled out 2 tens. Okay, there are no tens. Tens are only needed when you have 2-digit numbers. You should have pulled out your 2 ones because there's just a ones place and it has 2. When we compare 16 and 2, we ask ourselves, well, what's greater? 16 has 1 10, 2 has 0 tens. So I already know 16 is the greatest because it has a 10 and 2 does not. So I should have put my 2 dots for 16 because it's the larger number, 1 dot for 2 because it's the smaller number. Connect your dots, and you have 16 is greater than 2. The greater than symbol is the one that's going to have your 2 dots first. The less than symbol has the 2 dots after the 1 dot. Okay? 16 is greater than 2. Let's do one more together. And some of you may not even need to build these numbers because you are really good at your numbers 0 to 20, so that you don't really need to even build it because you already know what's greater and what's less. That's awesome. Some of you may need to build it to see it, and that's fine too. As we move on to larger numbers, you all may need to eventually build them just so that you can really see your tens and ones well, and eventually your 100s too. All right, let's compare the number 5 and 13. 5 and 13. Press pause and compare these numbers now. Alright, so you should have built for 5. It only has a ones place because it's a 1-digit number. So I just need 5 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For 13, it's a 2-digit number and I need 1 10. So 1, and then how many ones? 3. 1, 2, 3. So 10, 11, 12, 13. I've got them correct. Okay, when I go to compare these two numbers, I see there are no 10s here, but 13 has a 10. So I don't even have to go any farther. I know that 13 is the greatest because it has a 10 and 5 does not. So to use my symbol, I'm going to put 2 dots for the 13 and 1 dot for the 5 and connect. Does this read 5 is greater than 13? No, 5 is not greater. It reads 5 is less than 13. 5 is less than 13. Just like when we add, and we talked about this recently, you can use the commutative property and flip this equation around, and it still is correct. So if I flip my numbers, I don't really like how I drew that symbol. If I flip my numbers and put 13 first and 5 second, and I flip my symbol, it still is correct. Now this says 13 is greater than 5. So you can use the commutative property with your expressions as well when you are comparing numbers. Okay, so remember, when you compare, using the symbol, the larger number gets 2 dots, the smaller number gets 1. Connect the dots to get your symbol. Also remember, we start by looking to see if the number has any 10s, and then move on to the ones to compare if they both have the same number of 10s. Okay, I hope you are understanding comparing numbers a little bit more. And you have a little quiz so I can see how you're doing on understanding. There are some of your questions that are going to have words where you have to just use the words and not the symbol. And then a few, or maybe just even one, that you have to see if you can get the symbol correct. Okay? So remember everything you've learned as you take your quiz. Have a great weekend as well, because tomorrow we will not have a math lesson since it's homecoming. See you next time.